I've been a newsman for most of my life and in broadcasting for all of my life. I began at age 17. I got into news full-time at about 19 and worked on both coasts and also worked in the American Forces Network over in Frankfurt, Germany. And it's been quite a run, and it's been a very interesting time. I'm lucky to have found myself in a yeasty news era. Just after World War II, while the Cold War was at its hottest, and up through the times where we all feel that everything changed. I've always felt that, particularly in our form of government, news has a role that is sometimes underrated, and mostly that's our own fault, because too often we trivialize what we do rather than taking it seriously. We were much better at that all during the Depression and during World War II. And that's because news was so important to us. It was vital. We had to have the free exchange of information. If we did not have that, we would trash our entire system. And so we took it seriously, both in print and in the emerging broadcasting, first radio and then television news. Through the period of when the wall went down in Berlin, I point to that moment when I believe that we lost our way as a profession. Suddenly, we thought it was okay to just have fun. We could chase celebrities. We could peek through keyholes and think of that as news. We never thought of that as news when there was a concern about whether we were going to be annihilated over the Cuban Missile Crisis, or whether we were in a war we could have lost. We knew then that we had to get to the center of the core of the truth and report it. If we didn't do that, we would have lost our way, not just lost the war, not just lost everything else. We would have lost our soul. And we were an important part of that. The Constitution became central to the American story, to me, very early on, because it was obvious to me that these men, all men at that point, who went to Philadelphia and were trying to figure this all out, they had concocted a document unlike any that had ever been written before in human history. And they did it under duress, and they did it under pressure of time, and they did it when some of them were under death sentence. They did it in a brilliant fashion. They did it patiently. They spoke to each other. They negotiated with one another. They gave up very important parts of their own agenda in order to make a document that would unite us and give us a menu for democracy and for the republic. Both of those words were very important to all of the founding fathers. And it was that document that was the binding document of all that has happened since. And it remains important. It's an ongoing story. We don't know how it's going to come out. It is still going on at this moment. It's an exciting succession of words, and that are even now continuing to cause fights, big fights, in the halls of Congress. It is a document that we live by, and it is something that has lived with me. And so I decided to take that document with me wherever I went. And I have done that ever since, so I can, in an odd moment, or when I'm having a question or a discussion with a friend or a new acquaintance about something that is endemic to our country, well, I can find it in here. It's my dictionary. It's my dictionary of democracy, and I have it with me at all times. And I'm proud of that, and I am proud to tell people how I feel about this document and how my country has generally done. We really try to do the right thing. And in the long run, I think we've done pretty well at that, but we're still trying. It was easy to be a patriot when I grew up. It was not easy to be a patriot 50 years or 100 years before that period of time, nor is it as easy to be a patriot now. When I was a youngster, we found that our country had the best idea after all, our country and our Western democracies. I love the way Winston Churchill put it. He said that democracy is the absolute worst form of government ever devised by the mind of man, except for every other system of government that has ever been tried, which makes it the best form of government. Well, I knew that and was able to know that as a youngster, and when the war came. It was very important at that time, that is in the 40s and into the 50s, it was very important for us to learn about our government very early on. I was able to fall in love with this as a kid because I would listen to those words and I'd think about those people and the wonder of them all coming together at that one place, at that one time, in one specific era of human history. Wasn't that amazing? One of the most remarkable coincidences, or if you choose, blessings, in the history of history. I'm very glad to be a part of this project because I can still see myself. I can still see my hopes and aspirations, what my dreams were, all of them tied up with my country in some way, tied up with my family, tied up with my friends. And I think that it's very important that 8th graders, 7th graders, 9th graders, all the people still learning about life and about everything around, it's important for them to realize how vital it is to understand the miracle of the United States of America. And you want to find out how that happened? You want to find out how that developed? Just keep it close. Just hold on to it. Just take a look at it once a week. All right, once a month. But regularly. It's a wonderful story. It's got a sacco ending.